Hey everybody, it's Eugene Driscoll of valleyindy.org. Welcome to Navel Gazing, the Valley Indy podcast. If I sound congested or like I'm running out of breath, it's not that I exercise. Nope, I have done no sit-ups. I have just not been able to get rid of this cough and congestion I've had for about a month now. It's not COVID, but maybe I have something new. Maybe something formed in my basement and now I'm going to spread it around the world. You're welcome in advance. But anyway, this podcast is going to be audio from the June 9th meeting of the Derby Board of Aldermen and Alderwomen. Basically, so the aldermen and women meet once a month. The agenda is a list of discussion topics. The Dziekan administration, starting in about January, started changing the format of the agendas and, well, more specifically, who puts the agenda together. Dziekan administration, Mayor Rich Dziekan, he's Republican. The Board of Aldermen has a majority of Democrats. But he said, backed by his attorney, the City Corporation Council, look, we know the packet or the agenda has been put together a certain way for many years now, but the mayor has control, or my office, about what goes on this agenda. That's according to the charter. So we're going to start following the charter here as opposed to this informal, in their words, process that's been determining what your city officials talk about in public. So it's caused ruffle some feathers, I think would be accurate to describe the situation at first, because things like monthly reports from the department heads disappeared off the agenda. And the Democratic majority was a bit taken aback, so they complained about it. Anyway, it sort of bubbled up at the June 9th meeting when Sarah Wadomski, the president of the Board of Aldermen and Alderwomen, asked Walt Mayhew, Mayor Rich Dziekan's chief of staff, whether he was providing the town clerk with supplemental information to the agenda packet, in a timely manner, specifically in a week before the meeting, to the town clerk. So this is very bureaucratic. I get it if you're not like living this stuff. But basically, all right, so the Board of Aldermen holds a meeting and they have their agenda, and the agenda is a list of things they're going to talk about, which pretty much means nothing to anybody unless you're on the board. The elected officials also get supplemental material explaining what they'll be talking about. City of Ansonia puts all the stuff online. They're sort of the gold standard of if you want the underlying information to know what these elected officials will be talking about going in. So Walt Mayhew said, well, I did that this time. It got to the town clerk, and that triggered the town clerk to intervene in the meeting and say, oh, no, it hasn't, Walt. It's anything but happening. So Walt didn't respond directly and the town clerk is Marc Garofalo. He's a Democrat. Sarah Wadomski's a Democrat. I don't know if I failed to say that. Dziekan's a Republican. I think I did say that. So the article I wrote an article on published June 20th, basically going over this argument, and then I gave both Walt and Marc Garofalo a comment or a chance to expand upon this argument that was happening at the Board of Aldermen meeting. Now, if you read the article, Walt Mayhew basically says the town clerk is partisan, and the town clerk responds by, and then the town clerk says, well, if I'm partisan, prove it. Where have I done this? I've been doing this for 8 years at this point. You're the new guy, and now we have all these problems where previously we did not. So, anyway, that's the whole back and forth, and I apologize for that, but that'll give you some context to the audio I am about to play. And by the way, thank you so much to the Connecticut Society of Professional Journalists for awarding first place and second place to Navel Gazing for audio storytelling. Look at that. We got some awards. That's our third time we've won that over the years. So look, we're award winning. I'm not just some guy in his basement trying not to cough speaking into my iPhone. I'm an award winning podcaster. All right, without further ado, this is audio from the June 9th meeting of the Derby Board of Aldermen and Alderwomen. And I should say, I'm just publishing this because there's intense distrust of the media in 2022, including at my level. So I just want to post this as like, look, this is what I got. This is the basis of the story that you may have read on June 20th on the Valley Indy, valleyindy.org. This is where it comes from. So thank you.
Number 4, or I'm sorry, number
Mr. Mayor,
5.
before we,
public-
Mr. Mayor, it's Barbara. Before we go to the public portion, I just have a procedural question for the board. Well, not for the board, but on behalf of the board. Since our practice and protocol again has changed in the last 24 hours regarding agenda, what it looks like, are we going forward from your office going to get a hard copy of the documents delivered like we had in the past from the town clerk for the last, I don't know how many years?
We are going to send the information out as we get it, according to whatever the agenda says.
So how am I going to, I'm going to have to use my own printer, my own paper, my own to print out 100 pages? Is that what you're telling me?
Or we're going to send it out electronically if you want
The
it.
agenda will be prepared by the mayor's office, just as it was this time. All the information for posting, recording, and whatever else it is, goes to the town clerk. That's his function. He is the one who is charged with the posting and recording.
Are you going to do that the Thursday before, as you have stated in the past? So it gets to us before the weekend?
I did.
No. That did not get to the town clerk, and it was not. So that will be to the town clerk in its entirety, so he can put it together and print it out for us before the weekend.
You will get what we have.
That has not happened. That has not happened. The information was sent to this office yesterday in a format.
Hang on.
Incomplete. The format was incomplete. And
hang on. Through the chair. Who is talking here? Hang on. I'm sorry. I don't know who's talking, so I can recognize somebody here.
Marc Garofalo is town clerk.
Okay. Go ahead.
The information, it's a problem. It's a problem, Mayor. So I hope you'll deal with it. This office is left off emails. It's purposely trying to keep the information to then create a crisis at the last minute. It's been done the last 2 weeks. It's completely unprofessional. It lacks transparency, and it's more of the negative nature of what's going on here for the last 6 months.
Okay. All right. So next.
So you might be blind to it, but the morale at City Hall.
Okay, number one, Mark.
It's ever been.
Mark, I'm not recognizing you right now, so I can do without.
Not recognize whoever you want, but I am not going to be gaslighted by the lack of transparency and the complete lack of professional behavior that's going on here.
Mr. Mayhew, go ahead. Go ahead, Walt.
So the answer to my question is, and I don't think that's the way I understood it, but if the mayor's going to be in charge of the material and the agenda, then you should be delivering the materials to me. And if it comes electronically, I could tell you I'm not printing it out. I print out my agenda for the last, I don't know how many years plus documents. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to sit at a screen. It would be nice if, I think other people on the board would like to look at a document.
We will get it out to you.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
There's other boards and other committees that don't get paperwork hand delivered. I mean, for other boards that we have to print it all out. So, I mean, let's.
Well, I'm not going to do it, Gino. I mean, it's voluminous. I'm not going to do it.
I don't think it has to change. I don't think it has to change.
Okay,
I think they could print it out to us.
Hey, listen, everybody, time out. You already put me on a time schedule here, so I'm not going to play your games where you can run this whole meeting out. Okay. So now we're going to the public portion, number 5. Well, it is, because if you put me on a time schedule, I'm going to stop the clock, and then we're going to continue going on. So whatever you want to call it. We're going on to number 5, public portion. Right now, I'm going to let you guys know, no member of the board is going to speak during public portion, because you have the privilege to speak during any motion on this agenda, seeing how you put us on a time schedule. So this is just for the public. Right now, I'm going to recognize anybody from the public would like to speak on the agenda. State your name and address, please, for the record.